The IT industry has been talking cloud for about a decade now, in some way, shape, or form. If you've been in the industry long enough, you've probably heard a lot of different things about cloud. It can all feel a bit complex when being bombarded with terms from IaaS to SASE. This perceived complexity has been driven now for a long time by industry experts such as myself. If I'm going to say there's a problem, I have to admit I may have helped create it. 2005 to 2020 was a renaissance of new technologies and operational styles that previously had never been tried or existed in the world of IT. The concept of x86 virtualization and the early battle to win the trust of Tier 1 applications took time. The concept of VLANs and separating network traffic and data not physically but in software received pushback from security teams early on. It can be easy to forget in today's fast-paced world of innovation that hardware technology was fairly limited less than 30 years ago. The hardware, software, and technology level of the 90s was immature, to put it nicely. In 2000, the average x86 2-socket server used around 8% of its hardware ability. Innovation moved slowly back then to ensure the business ran and the revenue came in. The definition of what a data center was changed drastically between 1990 and 2000. As you look at the history of IT 2000 to 2020, you see a shift to a focus on software and operations. Concepts such as DevOps, which came together around 2008, began the process of merging what was once very separate: software development and IT operations. As the industry was better able to trust the hardware and failover recovery strategies, the focus shifted to software and operations. The concept of DevOps has changed how IT operates in a 2020-plus world. DevOps is typically still somewhere on a CIO's list of top care-abouts. There was a lot of new in those years, 1990 to 2020. IT was careful not to get over the tips of their skis on newer technologies. Since everything was new, there wasn't a lot of past performance. So slowly, technologies and processes were improved and then trusted with production workloads. It's important to remember the reason IT came to be: to support business outcomes. The culture of IT when cloud was born in 2006 was exactly in the middle of that 30-year renaissance in IT. New, born-in-the-cloud applications thrived and delivered business outcomes that increasingly drove revenue. There was something unexpected though. Legacy IT workloads didn't migrate from private infrastructure to public cloud technologies the way industry analysts expected. The revenue-generating legacy applications at first pass appeared to have a lot of moving parts to move to the cloud. Business leaders had to ask themselves hard questions about where they wanted their line of business applications kept. The industry finds itself in a form of analysis paralysis because they want the journey to the cloud to be smooth, and because for 5+ years, the industry has been telling them about all the complex technical parts of a cloud journey. Business leaders are hesitant in some cases as these applications and services are the intellectual property that fund the business. Once again, IT is required to prove the company jewels can be trusted on something different. This is where it gets a bit controversial. It's time as the industry moves forward in the next few years that it cast off the slow and steady methodology of the past and adopt a fail-fast mentality. Make a plan, not a perfect plan, but a plan, and then execute your move to the cloud. There will be problems, there will be pain, but you will come out the other side ahead of those companies that find themselves still searching for the right people to create their perfect plan. Unlike with early x86 virtualization and other technologies that emerged in the following decade, cloud is a proven technology. The technology that runs the cloud is the software and hardware that was refined over the past 30 years. Where before it was smart to move slowly with unproven technology, moving slow now with proven technology is just operational over-rotation on risk avoidance. There comes a point where you have to do it live. In this series, we're going to break down some of the key concepts that underpin cloud and focus on pushing past roadblocks to cloud adoption. In our first video of the series, we will dive deeper into x86 virtualization, software-defined everything, and the underpinnings of cloud. Well, as deep as I'm willing to go in 10 to 15 minutes. The second video in the series will talk about data gravity and why data is the single most important factor when making your plan that you're going to execute now. Storage in the cloud led the way as the first highly adopted cloud service. It was cheap and easy, but at what cost? Users found themselves locked into clouds without the ability to cost-effectively get their data back out. Multi-cloud adoptions and cloud adjacency will be discussed as to how it impacts data gravity and cloud lock-in. The third video in the series will cover the new normal of wide area networking and how it affects your cloud plan. Things like MPLS, cloud adjacency, and SD-WAN are all factors in how you move your data. Architects have a wide array of options to solve the challenges of a distributed workforce using distributed cloud services. Traditional network patterns both on the LAN and the WAN have changed drastically over the last 5 years. The pandemic accelerated the change in traffic, but it was already well in motion. We will dive into all these concepts and how they affect your cloud plan. The fourth video will focus on operationalizing the cloud and DevOps. Today's IT world is driven by applications and services that generate revenue and business outcomes. These applications and services need to be created, updated, deployed, managed, and decommissioned at a rate that keeps pace with modern innovation and users. The idea that development and operations are two different teams or processes have fallen by the wayside. DevOps has allowed for shorter development cycles with faster innovation that reduces deployment failures, rollbacks, and time to recover. Improved communications and collaboration between operations members and developers has been the fuel to feed rapid innovation and reduce cost. We will finalize the series with the last video to review what we covered and discuss how to accelerate cloud adoption to drive business outcomes. The videos in this series will touch on technologies, but will focus more on how those technologies impact our industry and how they support cloud versus what they really are. Stay tuned as we dive into the next decade of IT transformation, and while it uses technology we know, we're going to approach it very differently.